obviously trying to be strong for like 5 minutes, 5 minutes.
Hey, what's going on? It's me, Mario. I'm typically here hosting the Appraise The Phrase Show, but you know what? It is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. It is June, and it's time to talk about something else that's super important to me, to our brand, and really to the nation and to the world at large. So welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm here because as a former athlete turned podcast host, entertainer, father, but I'm a person. All things, I'm a person, man. And we want to create a space where we can talk about mental health awareness from an athlete's lens and from, coming from men, black men that care about it. So without further ado, I'm here to introduce the star of today who's going to walk us through the connections, through the stats, through the stories, through the journey of mental health awareness as an athlete from an athlete's lens. So let me take no more time away from Coach Trav. Coach, what's going on, brother?
What's going on, man? I appreciate the introduction, man, and thank you for taking the time and the space to actually, put something out there for Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, bro. It's really important, man. So shout out to you. Love what you're doing with the Praise the Phrase, man. Y'all doing some awesome work, educating the folks out here, educating the kids, and that means a lot to me, man. So I think it's great that we're teaming up for something awesome for this month, man. So I'm glad to
I
be here.
appreciate it, man. I appreciate you, brother. Hey, look, first I see the Heat hat.
Yes, sir.
I
You
see the
already know.
logo on your chest,
Yes,
and I see
sir.
the picture in the background.
Okay. Yep.
Let's pull all this together for the listeners, for the viewers, man. Tell us a little bit more about yourself, your connection with sports, and why you care so much about mental health awareness and mental wellness.
Well, born and raised in Miami, Florida, so that explains the Heat hat. In the
Yep.
background, I got two icons going at it, man. Mike Tyson and Muhammad Ali, two of the greatest to ever do it. It's almost like, two different eras of greatness coming together, man, and just like going at it, man. So, I when I saw that picture, I felt like it represented me. You know what I'm saying? I just had to have that on my wall. And mental peace
Yeah.
performance, man, that's my pride and joy, man. It was put together to help athletes in their transition into college, man. I know we do a great job of sending kids off to school, man. When you look at football players, they're always counting their offers and saying, I just got my 20th offer to this university. But what happens is when they actually pick their one and they go off to college, man, they come home too fast. And I think, it's a struggle to transition. And so mental peace performance was created to actually handle that and help them in their transition into college as opposed to just sending them off, and having them come right back home. So, that's what, this is my baby, man. You know what I'm saying? The Miami Heat, we have our ups and downs, but I'm a Miami guy and a Miami fan all the way through, man. So even the Panthers got a chance to celebrate that. So I'm
That's
happy for
true.
them as
That's
well.
true.
Yep,
That's
yep,
true.
yep. South Florida,
Congrats
man.
for all of the Floridians.
Yeah,
Congratulations. There you
yeah.
go. I got it
Appreciate
out.
it. Yep, appreciate it,
Congratulations.
man.
For sure.
Appreciate it.
For sure, for sure. A little bit before, and tell us more. Tell us more, a little bit more about how we can connect with, find, how to support your brand, bro. Like, tell us, please.
So you can find me on Instagram at mental underscore peace underscore performance, man. You can find me there. You can find me at Coach Trav 59 as well. So, if you want to just reach out to me, y'all also have my website, mentalpeaceperformance.com. Feel free to reach out to me if you want a session just to kind of talk things through about your child, or maybe you're an athlete yourself that kind of want to talk some things through. I'm here for that as well, man. So feel free to contact me, and we can get things rolling, man.
Man, my man, I appreciate you, dog. I appreciate you. Hold on. Hold on, man. Hold on. You feel me? You feel me? Look, we are here. Today's focus is everything that you just talked about, Coach Trav. It's a connection, a way of life,
hmm
really, a journey, and aptly put, a playbook. So
hmm
the theme of today, what we're calling today, is the mental health playbook. So you're going to take us through what folks need, whether you are the athlete, whether you know or are intimate with an athlete, where you're an observer and can better contribute to the lives, the mental support, the mental wellness of athletes. So here's the playbook. Let's jump into it, bro. I want to start us off with, like, the athlete's journey and things, and what that looks like and how that contributes. But first, let's lay the groundwork. What is in the day in the life of an athlete?
Man, it's crazy because, in high school it's pretty simple. Some people, most people practice in the afternoon, you know what I'm saying, and stuff. And it's, a couple hours here and there, what I mean? It could be kind of intense, but the biggest change comes when it comes to college. You know what I'm saying? Where you have, you're by yourself, you have you got class and now you got practice and now you actually have to compete because one thing that's different is when you're in high school, if you're the guy, you're the guy. You know what I mean? If you're the
Yeah,
starting running back, there's no, if there is a number two, he's not, really of your caliber and stuff like that. But when you go off to college, man, you got athletes from all over the world that can compete. And so now
yeah,
you kind of have to step your game up, not just on game day, but in practice as well. You know what I mean? And not just on the field, but in the classroom as well, because, if you don't handle your grades, you're not going to be able to play. If you don't have, good practice and study habits of the playbook, you're not going to play. And so these are
yeah,
things that, athletes struggle with, man. So, the day in the life, it can be a lot, but also too, it's only a lot if you don't prepare yourself. A lot of times we have big dreams and, big prayers, but we don't do the things to prepare for those prayers to be answered. We don't do things to prepare for
mm,
those moments. So when we go off to college, like the thing that you've always dreamed of, you're not really prepared to handle what comes with it. And that's where the mental health thing kind of comes in. You know what I mean? Because now, you know, you thought you loved the game, but now you're depressed because things ain't really panning out the way you thought they would. And now, because your love's going to get tested. You know what I mean? Even in my journey, um, I felt like I had a pretty good foundation of coaches who instilled a lot of good things in us. But when I went off to college, man, there were just certain things that I didn't know, and my love for the game was tested. And I honestly fought through moments where I was ready to walk away from the game pretty early on, like I didn't love it anymore. But thank God I was able to come across some coaches that renewed, my faith in the game, and I fell in love with the game again. And that's why I talk to these athletes about it because I've experienced it. You know what I'm saying?
mhm.
Like, one of the things that, people don't know, like in college, you can get recruited by a coach, but that coach could be gone by the time you get there. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So the
yeah,
coach that recruited me, I was really cool with. My family was cool with. They was comfortable with him. But after a year, he was gone. He found another job. You know what I'm saying? And so I kind of had that. There was no that familiar face. He was also a guy that was from back home. You know what I mean? And ironically, we still close to this day. Like, you know what I mean? So I still talk to him. But he was just one of the guys on the coaching staff for just 1 year of my tenure. You know what I'm saying? At
yeah,
Howard.
yeah.
So
Oh,
these
so
are
you went to Howard. Tell us a little bit. Sorry to interrupt you, but tell us a little bit more about your journey, man, and where you're from, your sports experience, and connect for me.
hmm
Spell out for me some of those scenarios where the love of the game is tested and the impact
oh for
of that.
sure. Well, I started out, I played high school at Chaminade Madonna, and that's the place where I actually came back to coach after I was done, pursuing my master's in sports psychology. I ended up coming back home like a prodigal son. I had no idea. I didn't even know I wanted to coach, bro. I actually didn't. I just kind of fell into it. But started out there, man. Learned that I had some great coaches that instilled a lot in us. They prepared us for a lot of things. They talked about mental toughness and all of that. They use all of those trigger words to make sure that we were physically able, that we wouldn't break down, you know what I mean, physically. And, from that, I earned my scholarship at Howard University, played ball, studied psychology. And the HBCU experience was a little bit different. It was something that I really enjoyed because I felt good being around my people, you know what I mean? At Chaminade, it was complete opposite. You know what I'm saying? It was Chaminade was really cool, but it was a private school, and I was in a minority. I never
Yep.
forget. I was being recruited by a coach from Liberty, and he actually came and he spoke to me, and we kind of started walking around Chaminade's campus, and I was like, hey coach, man, what's the campus like at Liberty University? And he looked around and was like, it's kind of like this, and I was like, I'll pass on that, man. I think I want something a
Yeah.
little different. But it's crazy because Liberty actually blew up, man. I was back when they was really
Yeah.
like trying to establish themselves, man. So shout out to
Yeah.
Liberty University, but thank God for putting me where he put me, man, because I didn't even have Howard on my radar to be honest, but that was an experience I needed to be
Yeah.
around, a culture of people, to be able to see and know that there are other black doctors out there, that there are black dentists out there, there are black lawyers, there are black therapists, all of that because they're my classmates. So in a time of just like we're dealing with some of the, racial issues and social injustices that we have to deal with, where you can kind of just, it seems like you don't have a lot of support, from the outside. I could look at my timeline and know that, my classmates from HU, like, we all getting through it together, and we represent something special in our community. Because sometimes they try to
Yep.
paint a picture of us as just being, monsters and stuff like that, man. But I know different because my classmates are different and I'm different. We know we are Black
Yep.
history.
Yeah. Heard that. No, that Howard thing, it's a different thing. I'm in DC now, so I'm learning more and more of how deep that pride and how
Sure.
deep that giving to one, the empowerment of the Black constituents at large, and Black student body and staff at large, but just how much of the history to make sure that never changes is entrenched and ingrained. So I rock with that, man. How did you end up? How did you say Howard wasn't on your radar? How did you end up getting there?
Man, just God, bro. I always wanted to be a Hurricane, bro, because back at the time when I was in
Yeah,
high school, the Miami Hurricanes was running things. I was just a few inches too
yeah,
short. You feel me? So,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was one of those people that was slightly undersized, but I was a dog. So I was just thankful that Howard took a chance on me, bro, and I made the best of it. You know what I mean? And
Absolutely.
and I'm not even gonna front. Being down in South Florida, I hadn't even heard of Howard until they offered me. And it
Mm-hmm.
was because all I had ever seen of HBCUs was Florida A&M, because that's in
Mm-hmm.
Florida, Bethune, um,
Yep.
and Southern and Grambling, because they played the Classic on TV, at the end
Yep.
of the year. So those were the only four HBCUs that I ever knew of. But it's funny, like, when Howard came, to Chaminade, and they, expressed their interest, I started seeing Howard everywhere, bro, and I just didn't know. Like, I feel like that exact month they were on the cover of Ebony magazine, and that was like major for me. I started watching, I always watch like episodes of Martin and Fresh Prince, and you would see,
Yeah.
them wearing HBCU apparels and them having like Howard sweatshirts on and stuff like that. So it was
Yeah.
just God put me in a place where I needed to be, because I think He knew that I would need that support from my people mentally later on, down the road, if I wanted to do something special with MPP.
My man. That's what's up, bro. That's what's up. I love to hear that. What impact did that have on you, being in Howard, and during a time that, like that you just mentioned, that time that we're not prepared for as athletes. You know what I'm saying? To be whole men by yourself, and being a new and expected to perform not only
Hmm.
on the field, off the field, in your friendships and your relationships. Don't mess up nothing. How
Right.
did that impact
Well, it impacted me like on the back end, bro, because when I was in school, I wasn't really mature enough to handle it. It was more
you?
so of just having that support of my teammates as we grew up and became men, as we became fathers and father figures, as we became husbands, and just like that feeling of not, feeling like you're out there alone trying to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? There's people like you out here actually getting it done, and there's people out here actually figuring it out too. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I think, that in itself was the mental health support that I needed. Just like knowing that, I got people out here, I got teammates that are great fathers. Matter of fact, coming out of football, man, some of my teammates like became teachers, like the upperclassmen. Like I ran into one of them, and he was a senior when I was a freshman, and I ran into him, at a restaurant after like my going into my third year, and we were just catching
Yeah.
up. He was just like, "Yeah, I'm a teacher at so and so," and he was just telling me like, "Man, the youngest need us," and I kind of planted a seed in my head because I never would have thought. And so
Right.
just like him going out and becoming, a teacher, and some of my other older teammates going out becoming teachers and becoming principals, and I mean very successful too, man. One of them is in Detroit doing this thing. You know what I mean? So
Nice.
it's like,
Shout out.
that was like, yeah, shout out to the D, man. I know he's out there doing great work. And that's the kind of support that I needed, because
Hmm.
it's like I needed to know my people are out here killing it, because, a lot of times we get painted, as, villains. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yep.
anytime you try to rise to greatness, they're gonna try to paint a picture of you as something that you're not. So that was just the example for me. You know what I mean? As long as, my high school teammates, who are like me as well, we're still close to this day. Dub, your co-host for the Praise the Phrase, man, we go way
Yeah.
back, bro. And that, that mental support is real, where we're able to call each other if we need something. You know what I'm saying? If
Yep.
we just need an ear, if we need a shoulder, if we just need to spend some time, like, hey, bro, like, and it's a non-judgmental space. And that
Yeah.
goes far, because we all need that. We keep each other lifted. We inspire each other. We let each other grieve when they're going through something. Like, these are things that we understand, and it's important to not feel alone in the journey. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah, I thank God for the places that He's put me. You know, He's placed me in Howard where I can have teammates that I rock with to this day, and it's
Mm.
just like, you know, it's refreshing. It's like the family reunion you don't know you need until you get there. That's why homecoming is important. You know,
Yeah.
you go to a
Yeah.
PWI, man, and homecoming is just like, it's just a day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People kind of, you know, they go, some care, they really don't care. Just it's just called homecoming. But when you attend the HBCU and you go back to homecoming, that's like a family reunion. You don't want to miss it. You know,
Yeah.
people that you didn't even get along with when you was 19, 20 years old, you just happy to see because y'all done survived and you're in your mid 30s and you just see each other thriving and you want that love. It's like, hey man, it's good to see you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So a lot of times, you know, relationships get, you know, mended because you just grew up, bro. You know what I'm saying? You
Yeah.
grow up, you understand. You grateful to be alive, and you know, to share that with your brothers and sisters, man. It's an awesome feeling.
Got you, man. Hey, you spoke to something that I want to gear us towards and start, giving the folks that are watching, thank you to you, something to take home a little bit to chew on. So talk to us about how the athletes are machines mentality, what that actually looks like, feels like, in ways people that are athletes, people that are supporting athletes can help circumvent and intervene on that, and how much pressure that actually is on people, and what that does to their mental health, and how we can help, kind of limit that and minimize that.
So, you know, people don't realize, man, athletes go through a lot and it's a lot of pressure. And I'll give you an example. You know, a high school athlete's best friend is like social media, because
Hmm.
that's what they turn to. They post their pictures, they get likes, thousands of likes. You know, when you're being recruited, the fans of those schools are all in your messages, supporting you. You know, telling you how much they want you and they want you to be a part of their program, and how, you know, you should pick them to be their school because, you know. So it's like, you know, when you 17, 16 years old, you love that attention. But the moment you go to these schools and you have a not so great game, or things don't pan out, you know, the way that, you know, people anticipated, you know, people turn on you. And so that thing that you couldn't, the thing that you enjoyed in the beginning, you know, it's become a thing that you can't really, you know, put down because, you know, people are all, you know, in the comment section, like, you're not 19, 20 years old. You know what I'm saying? I look at Angel Reese and her situation, man, and it's like, you know, people in her comments, man, like, she could just post a picture of just like a day outside, and people like, her comments are just crazy when it comes
Yeah.
to, oh, you're not this or you're not that. And it's not just her. You know, LeBron James has been dealing with it for 2 decades. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? One of the greatest beings
Yeah.
we've ever seen, like, play the game, like, whether you think he's better than Jordan or not. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, the comic section, the pressure that, you know, we're put under is not fair to them. You know, people talk to them like they don't have feelings or emotions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's
Yeah.
just like, and then being an athlete too, like you mentioned, you know, we're raised to be machines. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? We're raised to not feel. If you're going to be an athlete, you got to put your feelings aside, your emotions aside, and just execute these assignments. You got to go out there and not, you know, feel no pain. And then, you
Yeah.
know, as soon as the game is over, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, you gotta feel, and people don't know how to
Yeah.
process that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, the hardest thing for athletes, man, is, you know, football players especially. Like, you've been playing this game since you were 6 years old, and now you like in your mid 20s, and people telling you like, you too old, or you're not really good enough, or this game is not for you. That's crazy, yo, because you've been spending 21 years doing something you love, right? Doing
Yeah.
something you thought you
Yeah.
love. And then
Yeah.
when you don't have it no more, it's like, who am I? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's one of the things that we got to start working with these athletes, and just like getting them to realize that they are somebody special outside of the sport that they play. The sport
Yeah.
that you play is just an avenue that it just get you in certain doors. But it's
Yeah.
important to figure out who you are as a person if you want to thrive and survive as a human being.
That's real, man. And we, we used to, back in Michigan and in New England, we had this program called Legacy Football. Shout out to Legacy, man, doing great things still in youth development, sports space. And one of the things we used to say to the kids, to the fellas, is, we're not here to shut down your dreams. Actually, we're here to develop you so that one of you is a professional, right? We know that that's a possibility, and we know that's what you're all chasing. You've heard the stat 1,000 times, the 1%, the 2%. So we're not here to say that. What we're here to say, though, to put that into context, is that if the greatest football player to ever live is in this room, he will also have to stop playing one day. Like,
Right.
so you don't even have to not make it to know for a fact that you're done before you're dead. You know, so it's huge, man. So talk to the people about, from that machine aspect, what's some ways they can feel, supported, more human? What's some ways they can get out of that no feelings, performance only mindset? Or what's some ways that loved ones and supporters can help?
I actually want to back up for a second, bro. Like you said
For
something
sure,
that's
for
really
sure.
important when you talked about, you know what I'm saying? A lot of times people ask athletes, like, what's your backup plan? You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
Like, I don't ask that question because it makes you sound like you have to doubt, like, it puts doubt in your spirit. I'm not
right.
saying, I never ask, like, what's your backup plan? What I ask, who are you outside of the sport? You know what I'm saying? Like that way they can start thinking about who they are outside of, because you're more than an athlete. You can do more. God, you just weren't created to run, jump, catch, you know what I'm saying? Shoot a basketball. You're more than that. But who are you outside of this sport? And let's look in the mirror and figure out who we are. Let's figure
Mm,
out what we truly enjoy. Let's figure out what genuinely makes us happy. Let's figure out what kind of do I enjoy painting? Do I enjoy music? Do I enjoy making music? Do I, like, can I play the piano? Like, what can you do to relax your spirit? You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So I asked
Yeah.
that question, who are you outside of the sport? So, because a lot of times, but athletes are not given the time to figure that out. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, if you look at a guy, like a person I always talk about is Myron Rolle, right? Like, he understood that, you know, he understood that
Yeah.
he was
Yeah.
good at
Who
football,
is
but he
Myron
was
Rolle?
poor.
Educate the folks that don't
He
know.
was a
Who's Myron
neurosurgeon.
Rolle?
You know what I'm saying? Like, he
Yep.
wanted to be a neurosurgeon. And so that
Yep.
was something that he took pride in. Like, he already knew what his purpose was outside of football. Like, even another guy I used for an example, who was ahead of his time, Ricky Williams, right?
Mm,
People thought he was
he
crazy
was.
at the
They
height of
did.
his career, right? Because he
They
was
did.
talking about eating vegetables, he was talking about medicinal marijuana, he was talking about doing yoga, right? And
Mm,
people looked at this massive dude like he was crazy. And what does
yeah.
everybody do now? Yoga, medicinal marijuana, you know what I'm saying? Everybody's vegetarian. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
like, so he was
Yeah.
ahead of his time. And when it came time for him to retire, he walked away from the game because he's like, you know what? I want to study holistic healing. Like, I feel
Mm,
like that's my calling. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
when you don't have anything, you be trying to play the game until you can't play no more. You're willing to run yourself into the ground. You're willing to get,
Yeah.
CTE because you don't know nothing else. You
Yeah.
miss that locker room camaraderie. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
just wanted to touch on that, man. It's like, it's
Yeah.
important to know, like, who you are outside of the sport. So you got to kind of twist the question a little bit so to kind of get them to think about it, as opposed to just say, hey, what's your backup plan? Because now
Right.
they're gonna
Right.
just
Right.
give
Right.
you an answer to shut you up, but also have you feeling like you don't really believe in me and what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like,
You
because I
lose
want
that
you to believe in
relationship.
yourself wholeheartedly, but at the same time, understanding who you are, so you have something to walk away towards.
All right, man. I want to kind of get to something that you mentioned and you referred to earlier, you were leading to earlier, and that's life after the sport, man. So let's talk more about the lack of preparation that athletes get for life after ball, and how that, or any of the sport, we call it ball, but any
Hmm.
sport, and how that impacts them. And again, ways that loved ones or these athletes can be better prepared.
I think we do a disservice to our athletes, man, when we don't really prepare them just to figure out who they are as a person. We don't really aid them in that. You know what I'm saying? We
Yeah.
just want them to play ball, we want them to win games, we want them to compete, and that's it. A lot of times, you get a chance to figure out or learn who you are when you're in college, but we don't really take advantage of that opportunity. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of times, athletes just study basketball even because, it might be easy, or it's something that doesn't really interfere with practice times, but it does you a disservice because that's something you might not be into when you're retired. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's important to have a plan before you go to college, right? And then study something you're passionate about. But if you're only passionate about football, then you're setting yourself up for failure. Let's say you do have a successful let's say you have an average career, right? You have a solid career. You play, 4 or 5 years in the league. It's enough to kind of get started, but you don't know who you are after that. So you got a whole nother life to live, but you don't know what to do with yourself because you've only been told, you've only been encouraged to, to do one thing and do one thing great, and that's just compete. You know what I'm saying? But you're more than that. So, I just want us to, be able to, you know, start working with our kids, talking to our kids about, what it is they want to study and why, what it is that they truly enjoy and why. Like, what
Yeah.
kind of hobby, what's your gift outside of this? You know what I'm saying? Because we're all
Yeah.
gifted. God
Yeah.
created us to all have some type of, special trait, a talent outside of the sport that we play, but we don't get a chance to discover that because we've only been forced to do the one thing.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. So let's role play a little bit and let's like start to parse this out, man. So imagine that you're a high school athlete. Okay, you're in the mind of a high school athlete, or a high school athlete, and they're trying to earn a scholarship, trying to get there. All the big dreams, like we said, and like we're known to know these times as a dog eat dog, right? So
Hmm.
because this is still connected to Appraise the Phrase, man, I'm gonna refer to our journal. We do this thing, our journal, our mental health
So
journal, to reflect a little bit. Let's reflect on like with this dog eat dog world. Tell us what athletes are going through in this stage when they feel like they have to move anything. They don't let anything get in their way of their goal, that scholarship. I gotta get it. And tell us what toll that takes on their mental wellness and how we can support that, alleviate some of that.
it actually creates a lot of pressure, man. It is, and I can understand it because that's a big dream. One, you do have to be able to work, you do have to prepare a lot for it, but the pressure can be overwhelming. And I remember, there was one athlete that, that I had a chance to coach, and this kid had an awesome work ethic, an awesome personality, but every once in a while he'll have these breakdowns because he'll feel like he wasn't good enough to, get a scholarship. And I'm
Yeah,
like, bro, I said, bro, you are good enough. And I mean, this kid would be on the sideline crying because he made a mistake. And I'm like, bro, you're fine. You know what I mean? That
yeah,
was a big game that we had, and he had a couple of fumbles. You know what I mean? But we had to get him together. Say, hey, look, bro, we just got to get out of this game. We got to get out of this game with this win, but we can still, we're still going to put this on your shoulders, and you can do this. So I had to
yeah,
start talking to him, bro. Like, he was having, issues fumbling. So I was like, hey, bro, you get the opportunity, just get out of bounds. You know what I'm saying? Like, you still good, you still in good shape, but you don't
yeah,
have to hit the home run play. You know what I
yeah,
mean? But I knew it was a lot of pressure for him. But eventually he did earn that scholarship, to a great school. But I knew he was under a lot of pressure because he felt like he wasn't tall enough. He felt like he wasn't fast enough or something. But I'm like, bro, like you got it. Like I've seen kids with less talent have that opportunity, but he had the work ethic. You know what I'm saying? And he was just a overall great person. So when you're in the game, you know what I mean, it's like it could be, taxing mentally, just worrying about making it. Because it wasn't like he wasn't like the star of the show. He was just a
mhm,
great athlete who just did his part. Like they came, the team would game plan for player A, player B, but he was like player C that was gonna come in and do his thing whenever his number was called. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? So it was just one of those things, So being able to talk with him in those moments in the heat of the battle, just be like, hey, bro, you're going to be okay. You know what I'm
mhm,
saying? Like, so it's like dealing with mental health, you know, in the midst of playing the game, and also dealing with it afterwards. You know what I'm saying? So you kind of have to deal with it twofold. You know what I'm
mhm,
saying? Because some of the greatest athletes have like breakdowns in under fire. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? So I think that's why it's important that mental health is talked about, all through it. Either preparing athletes for college while they're in high school competing, getting them out of that bad mind state, in the middle of a battle. You know what I'm saying? Because at
mhm,
that point, it's just like, hey, let's just get out of here with the victory, and we're gonna regroup and get back, get our mental back together once we get out of this. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
we've had those moments.
What ways do you do that? What are some ways that you practice that with
I know for
with
in
athletes?
in that particular moment, bro, taking deep breaths. You know what I'm saying? Talking to them, reminding them of the work they put in, reminding them of the coaching cues. Like, hey, we're gonna break it down to the smallest of things. Stepping with the right foot. Hand placement and blocking. Break it down to something simple. Just give them a simple task where they can get back into the groove of the game. You know what I'm saying? Like so, and I think that was one gift that I had as a coach. Like dealing with some of our top guys, like when they've had those moments, like talking to them, reminding them of the work that they put in. Hey, you're built for this moment, and we can come out of it. But first, let's take a deep breath and relax. It's okay. It's just football. This is nothing new. You know what I'm saying? Like you've dealt with me as a coach physically, so I know you're prepared for them out there. You're ready. It's just that
Hmm.
getting them back in the mindset where they can calm down and realize that the moment is not that big. It's just a game.
Yeah, that's huge. Making the moment smaller, I think, is a huge, huge transferable practice
For sure.
in the mental wellness journey of athletes. You know, especially when in the midst of being after it. You know, like the moment, although a target is
Hmm.
not the entire board. It's never the entire board. Your target is simply a target, and the moment can be within your grasp. And there's things that are outside of your control. So I love how you talk about bringing it back to one of the small controllables to start
Yeah,
that
it's
feeling
like
of overwhelming.
you take it to where it's just like one small thing and one play at a time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then when you transition into, the real world, it's one day at a time. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? Give it your best for this play. Give it your best for the day, and that's really all you
Yep.
can do.
Yep. Man, that's great. All right, let's fast forward. Let's say athlete C, they do their thing, they get their scholarship, they even continue to succeed in ways that, the deep breaths helped, and then continue to move. And they're a professional athlete now. And they're in the highest level of their sport. And we know in sports, you have to consider yourself grateful. And it's thought to not bite the hand that feeds you once you're there. You
Hmm.
know, you have to show extreme gratitude. So how can one handle those hard times? Even goes as far as the mistreatment or the lack of compassion that comes with being a professional athlete playing at the highest level. How does one maintain their mental wellness during those times?
I think it's best to lean into the mental health support that you have around you. Find
Mm,
somebody that you trust that you can just talk to and keep things confidential because you can't you're not really allowed the space to rattle off your emotions to the media. You know what I'm saying?
mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm,
sometimes you don't have the space to do it at home with your family because you don't want them to worry too much. You don't want them to get stressed out and they kind of, they might be part of the stress. You know what I'm saying? So
mm,
it's really best to lean into the mental health advocates that are out here and just, the unbiased ears are just ready to just like listen and help you transition into just help you to be the best version of yourself.
yeah,
That's something that, it's foreign because, a lot of the training that we deal with is physical. We working out the body 24/7. We lifting weights, we running, nutrition, and all of that stuff. But we don't really exercise our mind that much. We don't really give
yeah,
ourselves grace. We don't really practice, deep breathing habits. We really don't get into yoga for the sake of just like, figuring out wholeness. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Meditating, praying, just talking to God even. You know what I'm saying? Just like
yeah, yeah,
bringing yourself back to it. And a lot of times, the reason why it's important to figure out who you are as a person, you learn how to bring yourself back when you're not feeling right. You know what I'm
mm.
saying?
You
It's
know when
like
you're not you if you know you. Yeah.
think back to a happy place, man, and then get back to it, no matter how silly it may sound. You know what I mean? I know for me, if I'm off, if I'm not feeling right, you got to acknowledge when it happens. First of all,
Mm-hmm,
I'm not feeling right today. Something's off. I need to go do something for myself. For
mm-hmm,
me, I go to a movie real quick. Go to a movie
yeah,
solo, a duck off, you know what I'm saying? Like nothing fancy. Watch a movie, grab a slice of pizza, man, and that's it. Or grab a bowl of cereal and I'm watching Saturday morning cartoons, you know what I'm saying? Or just
yeah,
watching something that used to bring me joy. And
yeah,
that's like fighting to get back aligned, you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So
yeah.
sometimes it's not a workout, sometimes it's not a prayer. Sometimes it's something just really as simple as to what made you happy when you was 8 years old and getting
Right,
back to it.
right. That's real. That's damn. Hey, I love that, man. I love that. Before we get out of here, brother, anything you want to make sure people understand about the steps it takes to execute a mental health playbook, your stance on mental health awareness, and any ways they can find more mental health support.
And you could always, find me at mentalpeaceperformance.com, man, or you could, reach out to other mental health professionals. But, at the end of the day, if you just want to start with yourself, purchasing your journal, you know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
figuring out, writing who you are as a person and what makes you happy, understanding and acknowledging, what puts you in a certain mind state, what puts you in a better mind state, you know what I'm saying? And that's important. And also too, man, fellowshipping with your brothers.
Mm.
Uh, Black man, I just want to say, bro, it's okay to be happy, man. Like it's okay to you
Really.
don't have to feel guilty to experience joy. And if I had one message to give to us, it's okay to experience joy because when you turn on the TV, we either competing, or you're watching a program where we're violent or something, or we're not who we're supposed to be. We either living like Jody where we're not living to our full potential, or is it? But hey, man, listen. At the end of the day, it's okay to be happy, man. Because sometimes I
Correct.
catch me and my brothers like we're just laughing hysterically about something, and it's like, why is it so foreign? It's like, like because we're not really allowed to. You feel me? It's like all we're supposed to do is go make money and go make other people happy and serve others. Like, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
so, that can become overwhelming, man. Sometimes date yourself. Go do something to make yourself happy, man. Do whatever it takes to bring yourself back to where, you're aligned, because you deserve it too.
Man, I love that, brother. Much, much love today and moving forward. This won't be the last time you see us collaborate. Um, and I want to just tell you, thank you for joining us at the end of this Men's Mental Health Awareness Month to say the message that you just said, man. Finding joy is so huge. I took a lot from this. I found joy in this. I can't wait to get back down to Miami and rock with you.
Not for sure, bro. I'm
And
looking forward to it, man.
yeah, for sure. So y'all can catch us on the Underdog Network, Praise the Phrase Show on YouTube. One more time for them, Trav, where they can find you.
Man, mentalpeaceperformance.com, Instagram at Mental Peace Performance, or Coach Trav 59, man. Look me up. And also, if you just need to talk, hit me up, man. Like, for real, because I'm here for us. I'm here for y'all. Like, I want us to be in a great space, man. I also want to say that for our members, our audience, I'm proud of y'all too, man. Like, I'm proud of, I know y'all out here killing it. We out here trying. We're the generation that's breaking generational curses. We're figuring out how to create generational wealth. Like, we are figuring out a lot when we wasn't given a lot. So I know a lot
Yes.
of us are out here working, man. So just want to say I'm proud of y'all for getting out here and figuring it out, man. Because ain't no blueprint to it. We are Black history because we are the first.
Man, my man, there's no better way than to wrap us up with those words. We will catch y'all next time we drop something on this mental health series. See you later, man.
Yo.